Have you ever asked friends for advice and gotten two very different responses that just makes your decision even harder than it already was? I have. Getting to the bottom of a situation or gathering accurate information to help make a decision can sometimes be very hard, can't it? My name is Ian Currey and this is Thinking Out Loud. Come on, let me tell you what I think. If you're a parent or a teacher perhaps, you'll have come across the idea of unraveling answers to simple questions that you've asked that are returned like a ball of string a cat has finished playing with. Simple questions to our two boys as they grew up would sometimes make me wonder if I actually spoke English after all. Are all the toys from the bedroom floor put away? Now, that was a question I would often already know the answer to, but nonetheless, it will illustrate the point. The boys would shrug as if to say, well, how would we know? I'd follow up with, go and look, and off they'd scamper, returning a moment or two later, well, are the toys put away? And one head would nod, and the other would go side to side. We'd walk back to the bedroom together, and I'd point to a pile of blocks and a line of cars and ask, and what are those? That's not a good question if you don't want to be informed that, well, Dad, you're looking at a pile of blocks and a line of cars. I might either say, let's get those put away before dinner, or perhaps inquire, who told me the toys were away? Now, at this point, most parents can give the verbatim responses, but my favorite was always, well, I didn't see those. Now, here's the thing. Both boys had been in the same room. Both had been asked to look and see if the toys were away, and yet had different responses when asked what they'd seen. Thinking the best, one boy had run into the room and looked at the floor, seen the blocks and the line of cars, and come running back to inform me, no, the toys are not all away. The other had gone there, looked into the toy box and seen it to appear to be full, and come running back and tell me that the toys were all away. In our example, it wasn't that anyone was not telling me the truth or that they hadn't looked. No, it was just that they were seeing different things from the same vantage point. Grown-ups today, sadly, are very well aware of the phrase fake news. Sometimes that comes from interpretation, sometimes intent, and sometimes because of predetermined ideas. People sometimes see what they expect to see. Many of my friends are well aware of a story found in the Bible where Moses sent out 12 spies to look at the land of Canaan. There's an old children's song about this story that sums it up with what the spies saw. It says something like, some saw giants big and tall, some saw grapes in clusters full. The story tells how the men brought back samples of the crops in the land. They cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes so large that it took two of them to carry it on a pole between them. Both Hilary and I love snacking on grapes, but those sound like a whole meal in themselves, don't they? What an amazing harvest. The spies collected samples and brought them back to the camp where their friends were still eating very meager desert rations. Can you imagine what those grapes must have looked like to those friends? Can you imagine the logistics of getting fruit that big to and from the supermarket? The problem in this story, of course, is that despite a couple of the spies bringing back evidence of a wonderful harvest, the others saw huge people that would be defending the crops. If all you had here was the word of the spies, 10 saying, "Oh, let's don't go there, it's dangerous," and only 2 saying, "Well, it looks good to me," you could see why the masses would vote with the 10. But with those massive grapes and the other samples they'd brought back in front of them, it makes me wonder. How do you make decisions? Do you ask friends or family for advice? Sometimes deep down we've already decided what we believe and what we want to do, and ask advice only to confirm what we really want to do, don't we? I mean, if you ask enough people, eventually you'll get the advice you want to hear, right? Being honest with ourselves and enjoying those wonderful grapes might have meant a little extra work and perhaps a fight or two for everyone to get where they were supposed to be. But denying the reality of what is really going on doesn't change the facts. No, it changes us. Now, in the case of the Israelites, the story does not have a happy ending. A full 40 years more spent in the desert. The harvest came and went, of course, but the ability to enjoy it was completely lost. Being careful to take good advice and not listen only to the advice we want to hear is vital, isn't it? Eventually, the descendants of the people who decided to stay in the desert did get to live in the land the spies had visited. I always wonder how history would have been different if factual advice had been heeded. What decisions are you making that need an honest look at the real facts? Are you deciding to opt for the wrong thing despite knowing deep down it isn't the way to go? Blaming your friends later for giving you advice you wanted them to give you perhaps isn't the best way to live and make decisions, is it? Until next time, goodbye.